In the previous movie, we set up our filled regions and assigned them to yes-no family parameters to control their visibility. And in this movie, we're going to go ahead and link up those parameters with a little bit of smarts in the family types dialog so that we can turn on and off the various zones as needed in the project. I'm in a file called Key Plan Step 3, if you're following along, and you can, of course, continue in your own file if you prefer. And I'm just going to slide it over a little bit here so that when I open up the family types dialog, give myself some room so we can see what's going on in the background. You can see here in the graphics group, I have the 5 visibility parameters that we set up in the previous movie. And there's really 2 approaches we can take to this. We could simply create family types, call it Zone A, and uncheck all the others and click Apply. And in doing that, that's a Zone A, and then repeat Zone B, Zone D, and so on. And that certainly is effective, and we could finish up in just a few minutes, and it would, for the most part, work just fine. I can't help myself. I sometimes like to add a little bit more smarts to these things. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some formulas here to control these things. So again, if you prefer to just do it with family types, feel free. You'll be done before me, but mine will be cooler. Let's go ahead and add a parameter. And the parameter type that I'm going to add is an integer. And I'll put that also under graphics just to keep it all in the same place. And I'm going to call this Key Plan Region. And I'll click OK. And that gives me a number here, a little 0, and a little spinner that I can just toggle through various numbers. And now what I want to do is, unfortunately, they don't have a character parameter type, so I had to go with integer here and use a number, but that's not the end of the world. Now what I'm going to do is, over here in the Zone A formula field, I'm going to write Key Plan Region equals 1. When I enter that, you'll notice that it unchecks the box and it grays out Zone A. Now, what did we just do here? Well, this is a special case of the if statement. When you do an if statement to control a checkbox, because the checkbox can only have 2 possibilities, checked or unchecked, you basically describe the true condition. So we say key plan region equals 1. What we're saying is if that occurs, then the answer is yes, so we want the box checked. So let's see how that works. Let's change this to 1 and click Apply, and you'll notice that checks the box. If this value is anything else, right, 0, 2, 3, 4, it's not checked because that condition is false. So when it evaluates this condition, if it turns out to be true, it checks the box. If it turns out to be false, it doesn't check the box. If you're doing a conditional like this for any other kind of parameter that's not a checkbox, that's not a yes/no, then you've got to write if, open parentheses, write your condition, and then the condition if true, comma, the condition if true, comma, the condition if false. You've got to do the whole statement. But you can shorthand it to just the true condition when you have these checkboxes. So what I'm going to do here is copy this and paste it and just change the number. I'm doing Control-C and Control-V here, like so. So now when I dial in a key plan region, you'll see it changes the value. And so that pretty much gives me formulaic control over my key plan regions instead of doing it manually with a bunch of text boxes. And really, who wants to do things manually when you can have a cool formula do it for you? I may still want to create the types to go along with this to have a more complete solution. And that's because I created these parameters as type-based parameters. I could also modify them and make them instance-based. So if you decide that you actually don't want the types at all, and you just want to be able to dial in the instance parameter, you can do that. Only problem is it will complain that all of the other ones are type-based parameters, so I wanted to show you that. This is where the planning comes in. If you want to do it instance, you need to make sure that you actually change all of these to instance. So you can do it both ways. I'm going to leave it as a type-based parameter right now because that's the way I set it up. But if I wanted to, I could modify these, change them all to instance, and then control the whole thing without any types at all. Okay, so now I have all of my zone types, and they're being controlled by formulas, so I have the best of both worlds, and I'm going to OK out of here. I'll save my key plan family, and In the next movie, we'll load it into our project and test it out.